Am I ready?
Yeah, can you hear it?
Seems like I'm only hearing out of one ear.
Yeah, it's like that's probably what those headphones are pretty old.
Okay, so it's time to get some new ones.
Okay, bring the money out. Rip up the checkbook.
Write the check. Well, welcome everybody to another case of the Flaminpit Show. I want to say case because we're all nuts up in here. How you doing back there, John?
Doing okay.
Well, you think we're gonna get a little rain today?
I hope not. Did you see the footage of what happened down by Detroit area?
Yeah.
It looked like down by Royal Oak. It looked like it was a waterfall.
It was flooding.
Expressways.
It flooded really well. So anyway, I want to welcome my returning guest, Miss Tamara Campbell Griffin.
Yes.
Doctor.
Yes.
I said Mrs. Since the last time you were here, you are now a doctor.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can professionally talk about sex.
Talk about sex all day. You know that's what I do.
That's what she does. I still haven't figured out why I get in so much trouble for talking about it and you don't. What am I doing wrong? Oh, I gotta get that doctor. Then I can talk about it all I want.
You can talk about it anyway.
So we're just gonna catch up today and see what's been going on with you. I've been watching you on Facebook, and you know things have really been gone from single to Mrs. to doctor.
Yes.
I mean, you just been on the move.
Yes.
And so now you have this new project, Project Create Safe.
Yes.
And that caught my attention because it has to do with, you know, sexual assault and that kind of thing. So why don't we talk about that? Tell us what that's all about.
All right, Project Create Safe is a project that I created because I noticed a need. And not only that, the government really was pushing for campuses, college campuses and university campuses to do something about sexual violence that was occurring on campuses. And so out of the study, they found that it was 66 major league, Ivy League, Big Ten colleges that were out of compliance.
Oh.
And so I thought about it. I said, if it's 66, there must be more. There's probably only 66 that we know about.
That you know about.
Right. And so I decided to create a project to reduce campus sexual violence by changing a culture of sexuality, of healthy sexuality in terms of how we view sexuality, right? And also looking at addressing the culture of masculinity that exists in athletics that sometimes even promote and condone sexual violence, right? And so I came up with Create Safe, and SAFE stands for Sexual Assault Free Environments. And so I'm reaching out again to college campuses and universities, not just those Big Ten college campuses and universities, but also HBCUs, or historically black college and universities, because oftentimes campus sexual violence goes underreported or unreported. And then when it is reported, oftentimes the faculty, the administration, the police, campus, they don't know how to respond to it. And so I wanted to teach them the skills that they need to do to be able to create a safe environment, but also incorporate bystander intervention. So if I see somebody on campus being assaulted, how do I as a bystander respond to that without furthering doing more damage to the potential victim or putting myself at risk? And so that's what Project Create Safe does. It works with campuses, college campuses, but it also works with churches. How do you as a church respond effectively to one of your teens who's come home from college that's been sexually assaulted? Or how do you prepare, you know, your teens that are going away to college to deal with something like this and not put themselves in harm's way? Because we know it oftentimes happens at parties, especially fraternity parties.
Yeah, they've had a lot of those posted, and people got into a lot of trouble for that.
Always alcohol involved.
Posting it? Why are they posting?
You know, I don't know. It's really a again, it speaks to the culture of sexuality that we have here right now in society, you know, and also Facebook has glorified everything. You know, social media. And so, you know, it's a double-edged sword. You want to create awareness by using social media, but then you want to prevent some of the foolishness that you see on social media. So
some of it is so foolish that I just am shocked. I'm just sitting there going, why would they even post that?
Right.
And then when you have you know, sexual assault, and like you say, people don't want to say anything. It's sort of like that bullying mode. People see it happening, but they don't want to say anything, or they're afraid to say something. So how do they know, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in and help? I mean, how do people know to do that? Because most time they're afraid to. They don't know what to do. They're like, well, I didn't want to get involved. You know, it's like somebody breaking your house and everybody see it, but nobody saw it.
Right. So basically, you want to put some tools and strategies in place, you know, to talk with the victim, to say, you know, hey, I see you. Hey, guys, what's going on? To kind of let that person know, for example, if you saw a guy dragging a woman down the hall, hey, guys, what's going on?
Like the
How
football player or whatever.
Exactly. You know, so you let them know that you see them, first of all. And
Right.
oftentimes that'll de-escalate the situation, at least for the moment, and give that person, the potential victim or even the alleged perpetrator, an opportunity to stop what they're doing. Just by simply letting them know, hey, what's up? I see what you guys are doing, you know. But not, you may not want to say, I see what you guys are doing. Just, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Where you guys going? What you up to for the night?
Right, right.
You know, and a lot of times that'll de-escalate the situation. But again, like you said, oftentimes we don't want to snitch.
And
you know?
I hate that word because to me,
Right.
so many things could be fixed if people would
Absolutely.
just tell.
Right.
And I don't know, where did the snitch come from? People being in jail? I mean, what? It's like baggy pants. Don't do it.
Right.
It's the crazy culture that we're in.
You know, and then also, one of the other things that I want to do specifically with Project Create Safe is to get the community involved.
Yeah.
Like the bars, the salons, the stores that surround
Right.
the campus. You know, if you are a bartender and you notice that one of your patrons is having too much to drink, cut them off.
Right.
Call them a cab. Don't necessarily let them leave with someone because they could be potentially in a dangerous situation.
Right. Well, you know, it's against the law that, you know, if something happens to that person when they're out the bar, will get in trouble. And I don't understand why they don't promote that even more, because they're going to get a fine.
Right.
You know, I mean, that could close them down potentially.
Absolutely. And then my thought is, if you're going to serve our college students, you know, you also need to be able to protect them as well. Like I said, whether you are a salon, whether you are a, you know, restaurant, a bar, or whatever, you need to make sure that you're creating a safe environment as well for those individuals who are attending, you know, the university in the community, living in the community around the university or the campus. So, yeah, I'm excited about the project. I have an advisory board, and so we're kind of moving forward, picking up momentum, and really pushing this, because every day I see something on
Right.
Facebook or on Yahoo News, CNN, where this type of a thing is going on, and I really felt compelled to do something about it, because oftentimes people aren't going to speak up. And then, you know me, I'm just about healthy sexuality, so wherever I can find a way to change the culture of sexuality to create a more healthy sexual environment,
Right.
I'm going to be involved.
Right, because you like talking about sex.
I love talking about sex. Yes, I do. Yeah.
So now, how does a person get involved with this if they want to become, you know, like help y'all volunteer or
Right.
whatever? How do they get involved? Because I went online and I looked at and I read a lot of it, and it seemed like, you know, the government is involved with a lot of it, and it had a little thing in there about Obama and everything. But just the everyday person, because I hadn't heard about it, but I'm always following you around
Right.
Facebook. I'm not a stalker, but you know what I'm saying? When people do things that you think, oh, who thought of that? You know, how do people get involved with stuff like that?
Well, I mean, if you definitely want to be involved with Project Create Safe, just contact me. You can always email me at drtamaragriffin.com, or you can go on Facebook to the Project Create Safe page, like it, and just simply say, hey, I want to be a part of your advisory board. I want to volunteer if you do an event in the community. That way you can get involved with me specifically in my Project Create Safe. Also, you can get involved by writing a letter to your congressman. I wrote a letter to our congressman, and he responded saying that, you know, they took the issue very seriously, because I'm also concerned about campus sexual violence here, because we have a lot of college campuses in Flint.
We really
And
do.
the unique thing about our college campuses here is that they're urban college campuses and they're commuter college campuses. So that brings in a whole different dynamic in terms of campus sexual
Right,
violence,
right.
because it may not be one of the students, it may be someone from the community. I mean, and so how do you respond to that? So you can also write your congressman, contact your mayor's office as a concerned citizen, saying that, hey, this is an issue that I'm concerned about in my city, on my college campus. We need to address it, you know. And then also there are several initiatives that you can get involved with, like with the YWCA. They do a lot around domestic violence and
Right.
also interpersonal violence, which sexual violence falls under. And so in October is, you know, domestic violence month. So that'll be a good opportunity, a good time and a good opportunity to get involved in your local community, because if you have a any agency usually that's you know, supporting domestic violence or interpersonal violence, they will probably be doing something around that time. So just by contacting one of those agencies and saying that you want to volunteer, nonprofits always want volunteers.
I know.
You
I'm
never
one of
get
those.
enough volunteers at a nonprofit. Yeah,
I know. I've been through a lot of them, because it's always something that grabs my eye and I want to get involved with it.
But you know what? Before we move on, I really want to encourage men to get involved because really we need to focus on men helping to push this initiative forward by men changing the culture of masculinity, sexism, genderism, gender roles, and all of those things intertwined with sexuality to create this unhealthy dynamic. And so if we get men as well as women involved, because domestic violence, sexual violence, interpersonal violence is not just an issue that affects women, although it seems more women report, because how do I as a man go to the police and say, hey, I've been assaulted,
beat me up?
Right, they're gonna look at you like whatever. And especially in the case on, you know, men who have sex with men in gay relationships, how do I as a man who has sex with men go and say this man beat me up? They're gonna look at you like you're crazy. So we have to get to a point where we're getting men involved and just changing this culture and this dynamic of how we view sexuality as a whole.
Well, how old do you think people, like kids, young people, should be when you get them involved in something like this, so that they learn about this ahead of time?
I think as early as, like I say with sexuality, as early as kids start asking questions, they need to be involved, because oftentimes they're getting bullied in school. And that turns into sexual bullying. And I mean, kids today are so advanced. They have access to a lot of things that we didn't have access to when we were younger. So they know about this stuff, if sometimes it may be going on in their own home or in their own family. So it's important to make sure that you address it as soon as it becomes an issue. Well, actually, before it becomes an issue, like you said, in terms of prevention. Like, how do I teach my young people to keep my hands to myself, whether they're male or they're female? And I know some people are going to get mad at me because I said whether they're male or female, we need to be able to teach our young people responsibility and accountability. You know, and so I think that starts as soon as they're little.
That's the main thing, accountability, because now then you sometimes you run into the parents that, you know, be like, not my child, or don't say nothing to my child, and then their child becomes a bully in this whole thing. So I mean, what do you do? I mean, how do you approach? Do you have parents coming up, you know, sessions or anything that parents can get involved in to learn how to do this?
I think it's a family education and a community education. Again, you educate the parent, you educate the child, you educate the community, all at one time. All at one time. And I think if we strengthen that existing bond between the family, the community, and the child, I think we'll be, you know, in a better place in terms of preventative maintenance, and just not with sexual violence, but with all issues. You know, ooh, that's another conversation.
Oh my goodness. So now, when you said you got involved with this, it was because we have a need for it. How did you decide what the need is and how to go about getting involved?
Well, just, you know, doing a lot of research, just watching the news and just hearing different stories from clients and friends and things like that. And it just happens. And again, it goes underreported and unreported, like I said, because oftentimes survivors don't want to come forward because they get blamed, right? Like, what did you do to put yourself in this situation, okay? And again, it goes back to accountability. But everybody has a role in whatever happens in their life, right? And so from doing that research and just speaking with, you know, family members and friends in the community and just visiting several college campuses, I identified the need, and I didn't really see anything being done about it on a larger scale until the government stepped in, which I'm really totally grateful for, because again, it is definitely a need. And we need to teach people what healthy sexuality means. Again, we need to address genderism, sexism, masculinity, and all of these cultures that promote unhealthy sexual behaviors. I mean, just as a society, media, sex sells everything, right? And it's not always a positive thing.
Well, you saw the sign on Dork that everybody was up.
On Dork.
I almost crashed my car when I saw it. I'm riding down the road and I got my son in the car, and I looked up and I was like, and for some reason my car swerved. I was like, no. Right. I could not believe they put that up there. Now, I mean, they couldn't promote that girl any better.
Right. See, exactly. So it's about the messages that we are putting out here as sex therapists, sex educators, just people, media in general. And I'm all about, at the end of the day, I want to create sex positive messages and create a culture of healthy sexuality. And so I think anything that involves that, I'm going to be involved in. So that's kind of how I came to the Project Create Safe initiative. And again, I just want to make sure that oftentimes we we don't provide enough support to the survivor or even the alleged perpetrator. And we need to make sure we have systems and programs and interventions in place to support both, so that the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator is less likely to reoffend, and that the survivor has the support that they need to continue on in a healthy manner and try to have a quality of life even after something like this has happened, because we know that survivors often suffer from mental health, depression, substance abuse, and they're oftentimes more likely to be repeat victims. And also perpetrators are more likely to reoffend if we don't have programs in place. So I'm all about making sure we have programs and interventions and support systems in place to make sure that we're supporting the survivor as well as the alleged or the actual perpetrator.
So we actually have services available for people in this program that will help them through assaults or anything like that?
Absolutely. You can always, of course, I'm a sex therapist, so I can work with survivors of sexual assault. We also have the YWCA. They have a safe house, and they provide crisis intervention counseling as well as support. And then you have Catholic Charities, who actually works with sexual offenders.
Oh,
yes, they have a sexual offender program, and so there's definitely support out there for victims and survivors, and perpetrators or alleged perpetrators of sexual violence. There's places that people can go. And then, of course, there's always the church that people may feel more comfortable talking to, a minister, someone of the clergy, someone of their faith. And so those options are always available, too.
Now, when people always say go talk to your clergy, are they professionally trained for that, or is that just like talking to your grandfather or something?
Some of them are, and that's a question that you may want to ask. How much experience do you have? Are you professionally trained? If so, what is your training in? Because sometimes we do have pastors, rabbis, and priests who are trained professionally to provide pastoral counseling or spiritual counseling. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I never knew. I always know people, first thing they say is, "Go. You need to go to the church." And I'm thinking, well, why? I mean, I don't know what their experiences are.
Yeah.
So now, when you have people come in the program and you go through an assessment, and then they have to decide where you're going to place them. Do they have like live-in places that really may not have to be a safe house, but do they have other places or anything like that people can go?
Like transitional homes or something like that? Yeah, there are some transitional homes. I think in Flint we probably will need more.
Yeah.
But there are other places that people can go that are not necessarily identified as safe houses, but they're more of a transitional home where a person can go while they're in the transition of moving out of a situation that has not been safe for them. Yeah.
Now, what do you think happens with when people decide to leave, but then they sort of change their mind, they get talked out of it, and then they want to leave there? Now, do they still get services, or if they just, once you out, you're out? Once you're out of the... Like if you're you're in the transitional home, and you've got people helping you get through this, but then how some people be like, well, I'm okay now, I want to go back or whatever. I mean, what happens with that? Is that like a mental illness where people just can't figure out that that's not the right thing to do? I won't necessarily say it's a mental illness. Interpersonal violence is a beast. And I think oftentimes people don't understand all the things that goes on with a person who's in a domestic violence or an interpersonal violence situation. It's easy for us to say, well, why don't you just leave and go get help? Well, oftentimes that person has been isolated from their family. The perpetrator has done a number on them mentally and emotionally, and oftentimes physically. And so there's different forms of abuse. So for example, that person may have told them, I will kill your family or your children if you leave. Now, I have to make a decision. Do I take a chance and leave and have my family being murdered because I left this man or this woman? And then there's economic abuse, right? This man this woman is the breadwinner of the home. I don't have any skills, any education. Where am I going to go? Especially for women men who've been taken out of the state, away from their home. So now they're isolated. They're dependent financially on this person. In the meantime, this person tells them they're stupid, they're ignorant, they're dumb. No one else is going to love them. Wow.
You know, so it's layers upon layers upon layers of why people stay.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's if I go to the police, they're not going to help me, or if I expose myself, there may be further damage that's done to me or further abuse that's done to me. So it's not so much necessarily a mental illness, but it's all of these other layers. Now compound that with the mental illness.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole bunch of stuff that a person has to work through in order to be able to leave the situation.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing when you start thinking about the abuse. I mean, because like, just imagine one person doing that to another person.
Right.
That's what just bothers me to no end. Is like, how can you be so cruel?
Right.
And then you have people that's trying to get help, but then you got that person so scared, and they just.
And then even I'll use my personal example, my personal life as an example. So everyone, knows, well, not everyone. Some people may know that I was in a situation in which my husband was emotionally abusive and financially abusive, right? And so it's in my book, Live Inspired, Feel Empowered.
That's right. I read it.
That was a shameless plug. But
that's
really,
a good book. Read it.
Thank you. I knew better. I didn't have a mental illness. There was no threats on my life. He put his hands on me one time, and that was enough for me.
Right.
But emotionally and financially, he was the breadwinner. He did a number on my self-esteem. Right? But I knew better. But yet I stayed. And it wasn't until I developed the skills, that I needed to be able to leave the situation. So I say that to say that there's so many different forms of abuse that people don't think about. And I was isolated, so to speak, because all of my family's on the East Coast mainly, right? In the Midwest. We were in California. I didn't have a support system out there, and at the time I wasn't working. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, even though I know this situation is unhealthy, I know I'm losing myself, I know I'm about to die, or somebody's gonna die.
Somebody's gonna die.
Right. If I don't get out of this situation, so what do I do? I'm not working. I don't have any family and friends immediately here, and so imagine that situation and you think it's right.
Yeah.
Because some people think that's how love is shown. They think that that's the way that they should be receiving love, So it's so many things that a person experiences when they're in an interpersonal violent situation. And it's easy for everybody to say, well, just leave. Because they're like, Tamara, well, at that time, I had a master's degree. I just hadn't found a job because we had just moved to LA.
Everybody out there working, it's hard to just walk up in there and get a job.
Right. And it's like, well, why didn't you just leave? Well, it wasn't that simple, Then it's like, you face the fear of being out there alone on your own. I mean, it's so much.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And people don't understand it unless you've been in the situation or unless you know someone who's gone through the situation. So for you to say to just leave, it's not always a just leave situation because you have to have a plan in place.
Yeah.
The one thing my father told me, he was like, Tamara, when you leave that man, make sure you leave him for good because if you go back, it's only going to get worse. And usually that's the case. So I had to put a plan in place. It was no just walking out of the door.
Yeah.
I had to make sure that I was going to be financially stable. I had to make sure that I knew that once I left, I didn't want to go back. I had to be completely done with that situation. And for some people, it takes a lot longer to get to that point, especially if you are by yourself and you've been isolated.
Yeah, yeah. And then for some people, like you said, that don't have the skills and they might be older.
Right.
And think that, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm just pretty much stuck.
Right.
And I would hate to feel that, It's like I did it once, never do it again.
Yeah. It's not just a cut and dry issue here.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So now I noticed, you were talking about healthy sexuality, and you were talking about the people that, sleep around and how many people, you slept with that one and then you slept with that one. I mean, when you tell people that, do you think people really take that to heed these days?
I think so. Because again, it's always something that I love to point out in any workshop that I do. Every time you have sex, you're having sex with someone that they've had sex with. And it's an exchange of energy and sometimes DNA.
Yeah.
Because those bodily fluids, if you're not having protected sex.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so I like to try to impress upon people the importance of making healthy sexual decisions because that's an energy intake. Energy transfers.
Yeah. It's like, say, you can hang out with a person, but once you have sex, the whole dynamic changes.
Yes, it does.
And it does, either for the better or for the worse.
Absolutely. And so we got to be more mindful of who we're deciding to have sex with, because, you know, it's that energy exchange, and then you have sexually transmitted infections. Some of them kill.
Yeah.
You know, and of course pregnancy, and that's a whole nother issue. Now you got a life that you're bringing into the midst of this confusion and this chaos.
Yeah.
You know?
And some of them don't even think about, you know, what I hate to hear the most is when they say, well, you know, I don't like the way that condom, you know, I don't like the way that feels.
Okay.
And then I'm saying, well, you're going to like it better when you die.
Exactly.
Or that thing turn green and fall off.
Right, yes. I mean, those are the type of conversations that you have to have. You can't be cute and pretty with it all the time. You have to get down to the dirty nitty gritty and let people know, yeah, you might not like to have sex with a condom, but you just might die. Is it worth your life?
Really?
You know, is that 5 minutes? Because that's probably all it's worth your life. You know what I'm saying? So
Your 5 minutes of pleasure.
and hopefully it was pleasure. Hopefully it wasn't like one of the moments like, would you get up? Are you finished?
Right.
You know?
Be like, for real, I waited for this.
Yeah. Not really. It wasn't worth it.
Now I'm mad as hell. Get the hell out of here. That's what I'm talking about. Just poof, kick that foot out.
Right. Like, get up.
Oh my goodness. Well, so if you have anything else you want to tell us about your Project Safe, what would it be?
I would just encourage everyone to please go check out the website. It's www.projectcreatesafe.com. Check out the news clips that are on there. Look at the statistics, because they're very alarming. And if you know anyone who is in need of these services, please contact me. Reach out. If you want to become involved in the project, reach out. Also, Project Create Safe, we have a campaign going on where we're trying to raise money for to provide services and workshops and training for those organizations, nonprofit. We all know nonprofits struggle getting money.
Right.
So we're trying to be able to raise money for these organizations and even individuals who would not be able to afford accessing services. So our goal right now is $10,000. I know in my mind it's a small goal, and I think it's very doable for a service that's so important. And so it's called www.gofundme.com Project Create Safe, and you can make a donation. Any donation helps. It can be a $1 donation, $5. We're not discriminating against any money.
Right.
You know, we just would love for people to be able to contribute to that fund so that we can provide services to people who can't afford it. Also, you know, if you just don't feel comfortable giving money, we have a Project Create Safe store. It's www.cafepress.com /Project Create Safe. You can go on there and purchase Project Create Safe items, t-shirts, water travel mugs, and just all kind of fun stuff, golf balls, and, you know, men and women items, and calendars, and all kind of fun things to purchase. And all the monies, whether you donate through GoFundMe.com or whether you donate through Cafe Press, all of the money goes towards providing services for survivors as well as their families and alleged perpetrators, to make sure that they're getting the skills that they need.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know about the cafe, because that could be a good way, but people don't really want to give money because they're like, well, I don't know where that money's going.
Right.
They can go in and buy something, and at least you'll know where that money is going.
Absolutely. And we had some really, really cute items. I wish I had some to show, but our hashtag is #ICreateSafe. So everything that I do when it comes to Project Create Safe, I always use hashtag #ICreateSafe. So I want to encourage all the listeners and viewers that if you are involved in Project Create Safe, or you want to send me a link that I can post, always please include the hashtag #ICreateSafe.
I don't know what hashtag mean. I'm still new at that.
Like, you know, the little pound sign?
I know what it is, but, you know, it's like I don't do Twitter and I don't do Instagram. So when I see people going hashtag, and it's just like, that's a pound sign.
Yeah. It's like anytime anybody includes that hashtag, #ICreateSafe, anything regarding Create Safe will come up, and you'll see all the feeds, the activity around Create Safe by using that particular hashtag.
Yeah, I get it now.
Yeah.
Because I'm still low on the totem pole.
That's all right. Hey,
I tried to create a Twitter account, and I created, and I'm just typing away, not knowing you can only do 140 characters. I'm just typing crazy, and all of a sudden it won't go. I'm like, why won't it go?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I read a little bit more. It says you can only do 140 characters. That's not enough for me. I'm long-winded.
Yeah, but you know what? Social media is so overwhelming for me sometimes because I do have, like 5 Facebook pages. I got, my personal page, Create Safe page, Dr. Griffin page, this page, that page. Then I got an Instagram page, a Twitter page, a LinkedIn page, Google Plus. I need a social media manager. So, hey, if anyone's listening who wants to become my social media manager, contact me because I need one because I cannot update all these pages.
Right. And it's a lot of pages.
Yes, it is.
So how do you, what's a what's a social media person do that you just asked for?
Well, they just kind of update my page with all the information, whether it's about Project Create Safe, whether it's one of my videos, whether it's one of my articles I'm writing, or anything that's related to anything I'm doing. They will be responsible for keeping those sites current and updated.
So they would have to follow you around too, like a stalker. Make sure I get that. What did she do? Oh, she combed her hair today. Hashtag combed her hair.
No, we don't have to get that personal with it. But as long as it's relating to any other sexually related work I'm doing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So now what other projects are you involved in besides this one? Because like you said, you have all those pages.
Yeah, I'm doing the weigh-in, which is the question of the day, which I'm getting a lot of great feedback in which I post a video asking the question of the day. I
With
found
your brown
that to be...
M&M cup. That is
yeah,
so
I
cute.
should have brought Miss Brown.
Miss Brown.
Yes. What was I thinking? She's going to be mad.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting a lot of activity around that, and I love that because it's really fun to hear the different perspectives of people's thoughts around relationships. So I'm going to be expanding that concept here pretty soon. I'm also doing a huge conference this weekend. I don't want to spill the beans just yet, but just follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all of those wonderful sites. I know I forgot something, but I'm doing a huge conference this weekend, a sexual health conference, and I'm the keynote speaker, and it's such a blessing and an honor to be able to do that. So I'll be sharing all of that exciting stuff this weekend, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Because I think I saw a little hint of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was doing that presentation, finishing up the touches at like 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. Also, that's enough.
That's enough for one person.
That is enough.
So do you have an assistant?
No, I need an assistant.
You need an assistant. You need a social media mogul to help you out.
I just have a manager who's here with me today. Shout out to my wonderful husband, wherever he went. He's somewhere here. I see him back there.
He's hiding out. And by the way, let me see his hand. You done good.
Yeah, he did that.
He did that. I'm getting blinded in here. All these lights and stuff.
Flashing lights.
Oh, I know. And then when I see you out there fishing, I said, look at this girl. I said, is she a country girl too? She out there fishing and scaling fish.
Yes.
That's what I used to do as a kid. We did all that. We can go right out the backyard into the pond and get crawdads and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I love it.
Well, I'm so happy that I found some time that I could just plug you in today because I know when you leave here, you'll probably be out kicking and screaming, doing a whole bunch of things.
Yeah. So
I'm glad to have you come back today and keep us posted on how your project, Create Safe project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Project, Create Safe.
Yes.
Project is going.
Okay.
And it's a wonderful thing. And like I say, I'm going to, we will post it and share it around and have people buy the little things from the store and just help you out much as we can. Okay. We might get some pieces. John, you need a t-shirt, right?
Yeah, triple X or
we got all sizes.
It'll say Project Create Safe.
That's right.
Create what?
Create Safe.
Okay.
It should give you the write-up card or what. You got a card, right? Well, he'll write it.
Yeah, I'll write it down for you.
Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming in, and hopefully we see you again soon.
Yes.
And congratulations on all of the goodness.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure coming here to chat with you. I love it. We always have such a good time.
A good time.
And I thank you for your support and your love.
Yes, and I'm going to get to talk about sex today.
You talk about sex every day, Lisa.
I know, but see, I get in trouble for it. I'm going to have to find out what it takes for me not to get in trouble. And then y'all going to be in trouble.
Uh-oh, look out.
So I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we had such a good time today, and we hope to see you again soon. And this Flaminpit, and we're out.